Hey there, good Thursday morning. It is the 5th of March. I'm meteorologist Alexis Clemens here at NBC Connecticut. This is our weather lab where we're just going to talk about what's going on outside right now and what's to come over these next couple of days because it's interesting to say the least. It's freezing rain. It's rain out there these next couple of days. And then if you're a fan of spring, you're going to like what's in the near-term forecast here as we head towards next week. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it with what we are seeing right now. This is as of 9:22 in the morning. We've got rain across all of Connecticut, but it does look like here. Let's go ahead and pause this radar and really get into the nitty-gritty here. So for a lot of us, it's just rain, a nice little steady rain down to Waterbury and New Haven, but you see those pockets of pink, right? And that's where there's going to be some issues here. That's our radar picking up maybe a couple of sleet pellets. It's also picking up potentially some freezing rain happening there. So we do have the chance for some slick spots out there. Anytime that you've got any type of precipitation this time of year, especially when temperatures are so close to freezing, that's going to create some issues. So we are seeing that as we go through, really, I've seen it through the Connecticut River Valley from Hartford all the way up to the Massachusetts border. And it looks like near Wyndham as well, kind of a pocket of that cooler air, even stretching all the way over towards Hebron as well. And it looks like the very northeastern part of the state there, the quiet corner, if you will, they're coming in on a few snowflakes out there. So just a damp start to your Thursday by all means. For the most part, it's just rain. We're seeing a couple of slick spots, but nothing crazy, which is good news. We love to see that. But one of the reasons why I'm jumping on this right now is because there's going to be a chance for more, really a better icing potential as we go into tonight and early Friday. So that's what we're kind of we're jumping on and talking about here. I'm going to make sure that if anybody has any comments, feel free to add them in here. I'm going to make sure that I can see them on my phone and on our website. So, or on my computer here. So I'm just making sure. But yeah, let us know what you're thinking, what you're seeing right now. I'm also seeing some pretty low visibility in a lot of the state. We were seeing that this morning as well. So foggy, we've got the moisture. That tells me right now that our atmosphere is ready to go for all of the precipitation that we're seeing right now. And some of it's coming down pretty good and creating some of those foggy conditions like what we're seeing out there. So that's kind of what we're watching at the moment. So a little foggy as we go through this morning. Let's take a look at temperatures because that's always a big indicator of what's going on. It does look like we're starting to lift above that freezing mark, but over towards Willimantic, that area there where they're seeing 31 degrees, so a little bit cooler in the northeastern part of the state where we could be seeing a couple of issues. For the most part, though, we were in the upper 20s this morning, so we have improved quite a bit. I will say we're getting a lot better today for that freezing potential, but the worst is still yet to come. So I'm just warning you right now. If you remember yesterday morning, that was a really tough commute in, right? Very icy, just a lot of issues, right? Unfortunately, something similar could be in play as we head towards Friday morning as well. So we have a winter weather advisory in effect from 5 p.m. today through noon on Friday. And that is because we're going to be seeing some rain. What we're seeing right now is going to continue, and eventually overnight, we'll see kind of more of a freezing rain mixture move in, and that can lead to some ice accumulation. So that's what we're really tracking, really paying close attention to. But your forecast for today, it's mostly just rain. The way I've been explaining it this morning is today, isolated slick spots, right? You might run into a slick spot here or there, right? Maybe on, something that is an untreated surface on your sidewalk or patio or something like that, right? So today is isolated slick spots. Tomorrow is more widespread, especially for, let me go back to, especially for those areas in the winter weather advisory. For that's central and northern Connecticut, especially the best chance. I think our hill towns, it's going to be pretty icy through tomorrow morning. It doesn't look great. So that's going to be a concern that we definitely have as we go through your Friday morning hours. The shoreline, it's just rain. We're not expecting us to cool down that much at the shoreline, but everybody else is definitely the further north that you go. Definitely, and the further north that you go and the higher in elevation that you go is a chance for that icing potential. So here's a look at these headlines here, because we were talking about it this morning as well. Snow is great, right? Rain is fine. It's the icing potential that I don't think anybody enjoys, right? So unfortunately, we do still have to deal with this tonight and into tomorrow, but things are looking up after that. We're going to watch as rain overtakes us by the lunch hour. It's already starting to do so. We just have a couple areas of that freezing rain here this morning. And then another chance for icing tonight. Somebody just asked, will tomorrow be like yesterday morning? Let me go ahead and show that there. Perfect. Will tomorrow be like yesterday morning? And I would say there's definitely a good chance. Unfortunately, it was really rough as we began your Wednesday, right? And unfortunately, something similar is very likely as we head through Friday. And it could be a little different because, as you recall, temperatures yesterday warmed up so quickly. Yesterday, I didn't come into work until after 9 a.m. Everything was fine by then. But tomorrow, temperatures kind of linger a little bit more in the 30s, so that could create more of an issue as well. So just preparing you for that if that does happen. So will tomorrow be like yesterday morning? It's very, very possible. And I'll step through why in just a second. But I would just be mindful of what there is, especially this time of year. We saw how rough yesterday morning was. And there's definitely a chance that could happen again, just with the icing potential here. And we'll step through that for you. We are dry, though, by about midday tomorrow. So after about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, things are dry. We will remain cloudy until Sunday, but dry. And then we start to warm up quite a bit. I forecast my first 70-degree day of the year for Tuesday. We're excited about that. So we'll talk about that in a second as well. But I do want to get you through your Friday, your Thursday and your Friday. So here's what we're watching for you right now as it populates into our machine. Just takes a second. But what we're watching here is this rain. It's all across the state now. It's scattered. There will be some periods of dry time, but for the most part, you can expect a good amount of rain through your Thursday. So hopefully you have your umbrella handy. Definitely have that handy if you're out and about through the day today. Let's watch this afternoon, though. We'll warm to near 40 degrees, which is great. But it's after, actually, I'm going to slow it down just a little bit more. So as we head towards 5 p.m., okay, starting to see our hill towns, that freezing rain moving back into the region here. And as we continue through the evening hours, it overspreads. So for the afternoon and evening commute, if you're going to be on our major highways, from 91, 84, 95 through the major cities, should be okay. But if you're commuting home to somewhere in our hill towns, especially in the northwestern part of the state, in the Litchfield Hills there, and even into the far northeastern part of the state, that's where we can start to see a couple of issues. I think it'll take a second before we really start to see those issues pile up. But I would just be mindful as you're heading home today. It's going to be very wet out there, and some people just see, oh, it's rain, so I can still drive normally. Still want to exercise that caution for sure. So just be prepared. Your evening commutes might be a little bit longer. It's Friday morning's commute. That could be a little tough because let's go ahead and step through this for you. So again, that freezing range is spreading to more of the state. And I want to show you why this is so intriguing to me. This is going to be paired with some really heavy rain. In fact, you might even hear a couple rumbles of thunder with this system here because it's very dynamic. This is the same system that's creating some severe weather to our southwest. So a few rumbles of thunder with this heavy rain, not out of the question, but you pair heavy rain with an icing potential, that could accumulate rather quickly. So that's why I'm rather concerned as we head into Thursday night and Friday morning. Really, after about 11 p.m. midnight or so seems to be kind of the worst of this situation here. So something to be really prepared about. You might wake up Friday morning, especially at the shoreline. You're like, okay, it's just wet out here. That's great. But we do have a lot of communities that could wake up to very, very slick conditions out there. Kind of a coating of ice on your vehicles, a coating of ice on the pavement as well. So something to really, really pay attention to. And we'll just, that went a little fast, but we'll just continue to kind of see the waves of this precipitation here. But you'll notice that freezing rain potential still sticking with us through tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to be in the low 30s. By about the 9 a.m. hour, we are drying out. So to answer your question, will tomorrow be like yesterday morning? There's a good chance that we could see a lot of the same issues as we go through Friday morning as we saw yesterday. So thank you so much for the question. Next question. When will the freezing rain end Friday morning? Because I'm going to NYC for a cruise. First of all, congratulations. That sounds like a lot of fun. Good, have a great vacation. Friday morning, I would suggest, it looks like this really wants to stop after about the 9 a.m. hour or so. And I will say closer to New York City, it's going to be a little bit warmer. They're not really tracking much of that freezing rain potential, if any at all. So that's good news here. But if you're commuting from, say Hartford, Torrington, Willimantic, further north in the state here, I would probably give it till about 9 a.m. just to be on the safe side. But you can always watch us here on NBC Connecticut too to kind of track those conditions real time. But I would suggest, if you can, don't leave until after about 9 a.m. and then you should be good to go. So, but I do think yesterday was just so interesting because it was horrible until 9 a.m. and then it warmed up like nothing happened, and I think something similar is very possible as we go through tomorrow. But and we're going to be drying out by about the 8-9 o'clock hour there. So that would be my answer to you, but I would still kind of monitor the forecast and see what's going on. We might have a couple of showers lingering by 9 a.m., but we'll have kind of the latest updates as it moves in tomorrow. So thank you so much for that question. If anybody else has any other questions, I would be happy to answer them. But I do want to talk about this system because it's such an interesting setup here. Rainfall totals for this system likely going to be over an inch for a lot of areas, which is quite a lot in terms of liquid precipitation here. So this is already going to be a very moisture heavy system. There's a lot to work with here. And as temperatures hover right around that freezing mark, that's going to create a lot of slick conditions. That's what we're monitoring here. And as for ice, I do want to point this out. We are expecting an ice accumulation, especially in our hill towns. To give you an idea, we start to see issues with ice accumulations after about a half an inch. I mean, we can see issues before that, like on the sidewalks and stuff. I'm talking like for power outages and things like that, because the ice accumulates on those lines too. We start to see those issues after a half an inch, which is very possible in some of our towns here. So something to really keep in mind, just again, preparing you in case that does happen. It would be Friday morning, but it doesn't last too terribly long because anything that falls and freezes is going to quickly melt. If we don't see it fully melting tomorrow, we will on Saturday, and then it just skyrockets from there. We're going to see a lot of melting. We've been seeing some green on the ground from the grass under the snow lately, but I think a lot of that snow is going to be melting over these next couple of days. Okay, we've got more questions in here as well. Let me go ahead and show this. Will it be safe to drive in Hartford around midnight tonight? Great question. Let's go ahead and look for you here. In Hartford specifically, let's go to midnight for us. In Hartford, we're going to be right around about 35 degrees. I would say in Hartford, I would just take it slow. That's when the really heavy rain is going to be falling. And we're just going to have to watch that temperature super closely, because if it dips below that freezing mark, then that would create some really tough icing issues here. I would say at midnight, though, in Hartford, doing a little bit, that's where we're expecting a little bit more of that warmer air to stick around. So it should be on the okay side. I would just take it slow, especially with the rain. So great question. Somebody asked, are we going to see any shoreline icing in the morning? Shoreline should be just fine. Our ice map looks like this, where our southern counties are not really expected to be impacted by the icing potential. It's really just in the northern, especially northwestern, northeastern parts of the state. Those higher elevations likely going to get a lot of ice accumulation. So that's going to be a huge issue. So yeah, we'll be watching that closely. Great questions. I drive all of 84 night after night. Or overnights? How much ice accumulation on the ground? For 84, I would say for 84, it depends on where you're going on 84. The further, if you head northeast of the cities of Hartford, so up towards Boston, that could be more of an issue there, where we could see upwards of a half an inch of ice. But further to the southwest, over towards like Waterbury, Danbury, it'd probably be less than a quarter of an inch. So it just kind of depends where you're going, but I would just take it really slow. Technically, our winter weather advisory, here, I'll show that for you. Our winter weather advisory, well, if it wants to load, is from 5 p.m. today through noon tomorrow. So we're still going to be monitoring that potential as we go through the overnight hours. I'll tell you right now, I think the worst of it's going to be tomorrow morning, because that's when the coldest of the temperatures are. But we can start seeing, especially in our hill towns, that's where we can really see some issues as early as 5 p.m. today. But I mean, major roads are usually on the okay side. They usually do a pretty good job of it. And with conditions like this, they're usually on top of it. I just want to give you the idea to exercise caution. I think also with rain, people tend to not take it as seriously as snow. So they drive as if they normally would in dry conditions in the rain, whereas that shouldn't be the norm. So just letting you know to take it a little bit easier there. But 84, I would say in like Tolland County, I would take it really slow through tonight, and especially tomorrow morning. Not the ice storm. I'm clumsy as it is. It's tough. It's nobody likes ice. The icing, like snow's fine, rain's fine. When you get slippery conditions in there, that's where it's just not fun at all. Freezing rain is my least favorite type of precipitation. I hate forecasting it. I hate living in it because it's rain. It's not fun to watch. I mean, it's just regular rain, but then it freezes on contact. I heard somebody explain this to me when I was in college, the way to differentiate between freezing rain and sleet. Actually, let me go ahead and bring up that graphic for you. Somebody else has a really great question that I'm going to answer in just a second about flooding. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But I did want to bring up this graphic because freezing rain, I hate it personally because it's just rain, right? And it's rain that's falling in what we call a warm nose. I actually posted a video about this on our Facebook, our YouTube, explaining how we forecast freezing rain. But we look at something called a warm nose, where we've got freezing or a cold precipitation, snow, ice, whatever it might be. Then there's a warm nose where it melts and then it freezes on contact. So where the pavement's a little bit, below freezing, your cars, are more susceptible to that, right? Sleet's fun because it just melts a little bit, but then it refreezes as ice. Those are little ice pellets. Somebody explained it to me once as, think of sleet as sprinkles on a donut, and then think of freezing rain as the glaze, the icing glaze on a donut. That is the best way to describe it. Sleet, just little ice pellets. If they do start to stick together, they can create some crunchy, slick spots there. And we could see a couple of sleet pellets through today and tonight as well. But freezing rain is the most concerning, especially with that heavy freezing rain out there. We could see things icing up pretty quickly. Yesterday morning was it was brutal, and I think similar conditions are going to be possible as we go through tomorrow morning as well. So something to keep in mind for sure. I want to answer this question because I think this is a great question here. And the question is, good morning. Will there be higher temperatures up in Vermont and New Hampshire, and will it affect flooding? So this time of year, we think about spring flooding because all of our snowpack has to melt and it goes directly into our rivers, right? And take a look at these temperatures. As we head towards Tuesday, we're talking 70 degrees. A lot of the area, a lot of New England is going to be warming up rather quickly. I mean, we're going from 36 Friday to 70 on Tuesday. That's what, a 44-degree jump there in just a couple of days. That's a huge deal. 70s, I'm excited about 70 personally, but we are going to have to watch the river levels very closely. I've been monitoring them. Right now, there's no huge threat, but I will say if our temperatures keep going up and down and up and down, and we keep seeing all this precipitation, we always see higher river levels in the springtime because of the snowpack melting. So it will be something to watch. I would say it's not a concern through this weekend, but by next week, we might have to really pay attention to it. So I just looked yesterday and it was doing okay. So we're nowhere near action stage. So that's good news there for the Connecticut River, for the Farmington River, Houstonic, all that stuff. Somebody said Tuesday, 70. I'm excited. Me too. I can't wait. I love spring. It is the best season, hands down. I mean, this is someone who has never dealt with spring allergies, but now I am. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe spring's not the best, but I do love it. I love getting, it getting nicer. Will the freezing affect the evening commute along 84 Waterbury to Hartford? That's a great question. Let's talk about that. Let's go ahead and go back. The evening commute today, truthfully, on the main interstates, I'm not concerned. Our winter weather advisory does go into effect at 5 p.m. today. That is mainly as this freezing rain spreads back into our hill towns. So if you're traveling from this gentleman from Waterbury to Hartford on 84 this evening, I don't see any issues icing wise. However, rain in general, you just want to take it a little bit slower. It's always weird driving in the rain, right? Because people take snow seriously. They move much slower, but with rain, they kind of just do what they would normally do on a dry day. So still take it slow for sure. But as for an icing potential this evening between 4 and 7 p.m. when that evening commute would be, on 84, I don't see that a concern. Now, if you were going to be on 84 heading up towards like Stafford around 5 p.m., that would be more of an issue. But for Hartford to Waterbury, not really concerned about that. Waiting for baseball weather. Debbie, me and you both. Baseball is my favorite season. I love it so much. And it was right before the blizzard. I wanted to talk about how spring training is back. I wanted to talk about how like the Yankees and the Sox and the Mets are getting back into it. But I figured I should probably focus on the blizzard. I wanted to talk more about spring training baseball, but baseball weather, I'm ready for it as well. Somebody's asking about schools tomorrow. I could 100% see a delay in schools, kind of similar to what we saw yesterday, because here, I'll step through this again for you as well. Here's that icing potential. I mean, which is paired with heavy rain. We're likely going to see some issues there, especially our hill towns. They're just more prone to it. And then here comes, through about 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, still seeing that freezing rain potential. So if I was a betting person, I would bet that we'd see a lot of school delays for Friday morning. I'm not in charge of what they do, obviously, but that would be my guess for some delays. I still think they'd have school just be later in the day. Do you think they will do road treatment ahead of time? I do. I hope so. I would hope so as well. We've talked about this before, but look at the temperatures on your screen there. 30s. Those are, all the 30s. We're going to be really hovering in the 30s through this entire time. That is the perfect temperature for ice melt to work. So as long as things are treated, we should be okay. I really would recommend getting out. And if you do still have some ice melt, I know we're all probably tired of using it. But icy conditions are just no joke. It's so tough. So I really would recommend before you go to bed tonight, even, even by this evening when you get home, whatever it might be, just throw out some ice melt there. We're going to see rain all day, and then the chance for that icing is definitely going to be prevalent through tonight and Friday morning. So Great question there. You guys have all some great questions. Um, Let me see. I think I have a graphic here that kind of sums up everything to the best of my ability, and then we can talk about some more. We'll talk about the long term forecast as well because it's an interesting setup here. But I do want to leave you on this graphic for this ice potential tonight and into tomorrow morning. Just be prepared for freezing rain. That's in my opinion, it's the worst precipitation type, and I think people would agree because it just turns into ice. It's slippery. It's tough. It's really really tough. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. So more of that freezing rain will begin after about 5 p.m. today. Sleet will mix in a little bit, but those ice accumulations are still going to be expected. So again, you might see a couple of slick spots as we head towards this evening. I would say the most impacted commute would be Friday morning, likely slippery to start the day. So, yes. And I want to talk about the long-term forecast before I let you go here on your Thursday. So we talked about this just a little bit ago on how the temperatures are just going to be skyrocketing over these next couple of days. We're in the 30s tomorrow, but the 40s on Saturday, the 50s on Sunday, 70 degrees on Tuesday. Oh, I cannot wait. In case you're wondering, the last time we saw 70 degrees was 71 in Hartford on October 19th. I believe that was 137 days ago. So it's been a while. It was nice to forecast that today and actually mean it because it really does look likely that we'll see several communities move into the 70s for Tuesday. Somebody asked if I can show an ice accumulation map again. I definitely can just here in a second. But looking ahead, you've heard the saying, March is in like a lion, out like a lamb. It's definitely true. We are currently in the weather battle zone between winter air masses and spring air masses. So the temperature roller coaster continues. 70 on Tuesday, but back to near 40 degrees as we head towards the end of next week. So it's all over the place. It's creating some I've been a little under the weather because of these weather changes here. And I'll have to do a video explaining why that is. The weather changes can really impact you. Somebody asked, will these rise in temperatures cause a possible early outbreak Midwest for tornadoes? Yeah, they're expecting actually some severe weather today. They've got a severe outlook over the next couple of days, I think, for the Midwest. So yeah, they're getting underway of that season very, very quickly. But I want to bring up this message. Can we show an ice accumulation map again? I absolutely can. Let me just grab it for you here. So it's mainly for our northern and central areas here. I will say it looks like we've got some warmer air in the Middletown region, the Connecticut River Valley, maybe even up to Hartford as well. But I will say there's a good chance for ice accumulation, at least, I would say less than a quarter of an inch for areas in the light pink. The dark pink are hill towns. There's definitely going to be some concern there. So that's going to be something that we watch very closely. Accumulating on the pavement, but if you do, you have the treatment ahead of time, it does help a little bit. Watch that for the pavement. Think about your sidewalks, your driveways, anything that you might walk on, patios. Be mindful of tomorrow morning as you're heading out the door. Not only is it going to be slick on the ground, but your car, it might take a second to get into as well. We saw a glaze of ice kind of encase a lot of things yesterday. And that could very well be a possibility as we go into Friday morning as well. So something to really pay attention to, especially in our hill towns, but even surrounding areas down towards Waterbury, Danbury, even Hartford, Windham, Willimantic, Tolland, Killingly, all could see some issues there. The further south you go, so Bridgeport, New Haven, Groton, New London, even Norwich, things look to be mostly just rain here. But no matter where you're going, it's just wet out there through tonight, through tomorrow. So just making sure that you're taking some time and getting to where you need to get to safely. So that's what it's all about, right? But yeah, that's what we're watching. Again, your winter weather advisory is from 5 p.m. today to noon on Friday. I'm going to just make sure that I didn't miss any updates while I've been doing this live stream with all of you. Just making sure that everything's good. And it looks like we are. So again, we'll just be watching for those slick spots, and we'll keep you updated as best as we can as it's happening. Let's go ahead and show you the radar one more time. Somebody asked, what is the timeline for the changeover from rain to ice? I'm assuming is what that says. So right now we actually do have a couple areas of some freezing rain out there. Rain's pretty much overtaking it. I do want to zoom out though and just kind of show you the big picture here. First of all, a little bit of snow up towards Massachusetts. But look at this system. So we're just dealing with wave one. There are still there's more waves of this system that are still to come. And this system creating quite the issue the further southwest that you go. So the first wave is upon us right now. We'll have a little break by the early afternoon hours. Then we'll see the second wave. And the second wave is where we could start to see that changeover to ice. So let me go ahead and bring that back for you. So to answer your question, 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is when our winter weather advisory goes into effect. And that's when we can start to see our hill towns getting in on the action of freezing rain again. So we should all be rain through the majority of the day, kind of through today as we warm to near 40 degrees. After 5 p.m., our hill towns start to see that freezing rain, and then it expands further south through tonight. Tomorrow morning is when I expect more of the ice accumulations here. Temperatures will be a little bit cooler. So we'll kind of see that concern really from about 5 p.m. today through roughly 8 a.m. tomorrow. And 5 p.m., I know that's the evening commute. I will say on our main roads, we should be okay. It's those hill towns that you're traveling to that you might need to take it a little bit slower this evening. And then everybody kind of needs to exercise that caution through Friday morning, unless you're at the shoreline where they're expecting just rain. So that's kind of what we're watching for you there. So great questions. I'm glad I could help. And we'll continue to update you here on NBC Connecticut, wherever you get us, so we can be the best of help to you. So that's all I've got for today. Oh, here's my Taylor Swift water bottle. But we're getting ready for the 11 a.m. show and the rest of the coverage that we'll have on NBC Connecticut online, on air, on streaming, wherever you get us. We'll have all of those updates through the day, through tonight, through tomorrow. And then finally, once tomorrow morning hits and we dry out, we'll start that warming trend. 30s tomorrow, but then 70 on Tuesday. Looks great. It's not going to stick around too terribly long, but we'll get there. It's a sign of things to come. It's a sign of a warming trend here. We'll keep you updated with the latest as we get it and as it comes in. But this is all just to make sure that you can be as safe as possible for you and your family. And we'll track that. Remember that rain today, and then a transition back into an icing potential tonight and into Friday morning. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We will see you later.